Picture a tranquil summer evening in Maple Grove, a quintessential American suburb where picket fences and manicured lawns paint a postcard-perfect scene. The kind of place where neighbors wave hello, but secrets simmer just beneath the surface. My name is Tom Harrison, a 52-year-old police officer who's spent over 2 decades on the force. I've seen it all: burglaries, bar fights, even the occasional high-speed chase. But nothing prepared me for the chaos unleashed by my next-door neighbor, Linda, over something as simple as a hot tub. This is a story of entitlement, destruction, and justice, with twists that'll make you question where the line between right and wrong really lies. I've always kept my job quiet around Maple Grove. When folks know a cop lives nearby, they start treating you like a 24/7 complaint desk: stray cats, loud music, you name it. I'm happy to step in for real emergencies, but I'm not the neighborhood watchdog. My squad car and uniform might tip off the observant, but I don't advertise. Linda, however, was too wrapped up in her own world to notice. She lived next door with her lawyer husband and 2 kids, always acting like she owned the block. Her obliviousness set the stage for a showdown nobody saw coming. Policing is brutal on the mind and body. Studies call it one of the most stressful jobs out there, and I'd agree. Over the years, I tried everything to unwind: yoga classes, meditation apps, even woodworking. Nothing stuck until I sank into a hot tub at a cousin's wedding venue. The warm, bubbling water melted my stress like nothing else. I spent years saving up, and last spring, I finally installed a top-of-the-line hot tub in my backyard. It was my personal oasis, perfect for soaking after a double shift or relaxing on a snowy winter night. I'd close my eyes, let the jets work their magic, and feel human again. But that hot tub became a lightning rod for trouble. Linda first noticed it one Saturday while I was out back, sipping coffee and enjoying the bubbles. She didn't bother with pleasantries. Striding into my yard in a swimsuit, she announced, "Tom, I'm using your hot tub." No question, no courtesy, just a demand. I blinked, caught off guard, but kept my tone even. "Sorry, Linda, this is private property. I'm not okay with that. Truth is, I'd let my sister or close buddies use it, but Linda?" We'd barely spoken beyond a nod at the mailbox. Her face flushed like I'd slapped her. "You're being selfish. Good neighbors share. I've got kids, Tom. I am exhausted." She launched into a sob story about her overwhelming life, but I wasn't buying it. Her SUV was brand new, her house was bigger than mine, and her kids seemed fine. I stood my ground. "It's my property, my call. Nobody else uses it unless I say so." That's when she went nuclear. "This is for the community. You have to share. It's the law." She even claimed her husband, a lawyer, would back her up. I couldn't help but chuckle. As a cop, I know property law better than most. I cited the relevant statutes, calmly explaining she had no claim. Her eyes narrowed, and she hissed, "This isn't over, Tom. You'll be sorry." I could have flashed my badge right then, told her to back off or face consequences. But I didn't. Using my job to bully feels wrong, like sinking to her level. Plus, I was intrigued. Would she let it go, or would she push further? She hadn't broken any laws. Being a nuisance isn't a crime. I figured she might try something petty, like complaining to the HOA or, better yet, calling the cops. That would have been a laugh, seeing my own colleagues show up. But Linda had a far wilder plan brewing. The next few days were quiet, almost too quiet. I half expected her to confront me again, especially since she had plenty of chances to see me leaving for work in my uniform. But Linda's ego blinded her. She didn't notice or didn't care. Then, on a lazy Thursday off, everything exploded. I was sprawled on my couch in sweats, munching cereal and scrolling through emails when my phone buzzed. A motion alert from my backyard security camera. I pulled up the feed and there was Linda, staring straight into the lens, waving mockingly like she was taunting me. My cop instincts kicked in. Don't rush into the unknown. I stayed put, watching the screen. She vanished from the camera's view, and seconds later, her SUV roared up to my front curb. My heart rate spiked. She climbed in, revved the engine, and made a sharp turn straight through my wooden fence. The crash echoed like a gunshot. I bolted to the window, jaw dropping as her SUV tore across my lawn, heading for the hot tub. She didn't slow down. With a sickening crunch, her vehicle slammed into the hot tub, shattering the fiberglass shell and sending a geyser of water into the air. Her front bumper crumpled, and my backyard looked like a disaster zone. Linda stepped out, unscathed, with a smug grin. "Should have shared, Tom," she shouted, arms crossed. "Now nobody gets to use it." Rage bubbled inside me, but I stayed calm, a cop's habit. This wasn't just vandalism, it was reckless endangerment. She could have hit someone. I grabbed my badge, handcuffs, and phone, dialing for backup as I marched outside. Her smirk faded when she saw me. I held up my badge. "Linda, you're under arrest for vandalism and reckless endangerment." Her eyes widened, and she stammered, "You're not a cop. You're bluffing." I didn't flinch. "Turn around, hands behind your back." She tried every excuse in the book. "It was an accident. I hit the gas instead of the brake." Then, absurdly, "You can't be a cop, you're too nice looking." I almost laughed. Sexist nonsense, but desperate times call for desperate lies. She kept going, claiming I was wrong for not telling her I was a cop, as if that justified her rampage. "You tricked me," she wailed. I shook my head. "You did this to yourself, Linda." My backup arrived, 2 officers I've known for years. They cuffed her properly, and her protests grew frantic. "He didn't tell me he was a cop. This isn't fair." The officers exchanged amused glances. One muttered, "Lady, you picked the wrong guy to mess with." As they led her to the squad car, she screamed about calling her husband. I wasn't worried. My cameras had caught everything: her wave, her deliberate drive, her smug taunt. Premeditated, no question. The aftermath was a whirlwind. Linda's husband, Greg, was a divorce attorney, not a criminal lawyer, so he couldn't defend her. Turns out, he knew I was a cop, had seen me in uniform plenty of times. He was mortified by her actions, and the irony wasn't lost on me. Linda hired a defense attorney who convinced her to plead guilty and pay for the damages. At the hearing, she tried to play the victim, claiming it was a moment of passion. The judge wasn't having it. The camera footage was damning, and her wave into the lens sealed her fate. She was sentenced to a year in prison, with a chance for parole after 6 months, plus charges for vandalism and endangerment. While Linda was behind bars, Maple Grove buzzed with gossip. Crazy Linda became a local legend. Neighbors whispered about her stunt, some laughing, others shaking their heads. Greg filed for divorce, unable to stomach her recklessness. Their kids stayed with him, and the house went quiet. When Linda got out after 7 months, she didn't return. Rumor has it she moved to a condo across town, shunned by the community she once tried to dominate. As for me, I used her payout to rebuild my hot tub bigger and better. I'm back to soaking in it, sometimes with my sister's family or old friends from the precinct. The fence is sturdier now, and I've upgraded my cameras. Life's good again, but Linda's actions left me thinking. What pushes someone to such extremes? Was it pride, entitlement, or just a warped sense of justice? Her stunt sparked heated debates among my buddies at the station. Some cheered her harsh punishment. Others thought a fine and community service would have sufficed. It's a murky line. When does a neighborly dispute cross into crime? And how far should the law go? I'd love to hear what you think. Drop a comment below and share your take. Was Linda's year in prison fair, or was it too severe for a hot-headed mistake? Have you ever dealt with a neighbor who went too far? What's your stance on violence and fairness in everyday conflicts? Let's unpack this. Your perspective matters.